Yes, sir. Get these groups in, baby. March Madness, baby. After work and all that, no excuses, baby. We gotta lay it down for y'all. Tap in, y'all. Long show. Yeah, let me just get more groups in and we ready to go, man. Hold up. Damn. Alright, fuck it. That should be it right there. March Madness, motherfuckers. Let's go. Hold on, let me tap in some cats. What's up, everybody? Yeah, just doing my due diligence, man. March Madness, you already know, baby. Second year, me and Sportsbook Jeff doing this for y'all. Yeah, we gonna talk to y'all, man. Let me invite, you know what I mean? Get people up, man. Track is banging. Yes, sir. Jeff Gersten in the building. March Madness. Let me let a few people tap in, Jeff. I know you anxious to get on, baby. Just hold up a minute. Hold up a minute. Best time of the year is here, folks. March Madness, baby. Brian Smith in the building. What's up, baby? March Madness. You don't want to miss this, baby. Second year we covering it, man. Me and Sportsbook Jeff, we gonna give y'all sides, sleepers, Final Four predictions, all that. You don't want to miss it, man. All right. Let me shut this down real quick. X in the building, I see you. I know you got your opinion, X. You don't got to go crazy chatting it all over the place. I know you got your opinions. Sportsbook Jeff, let's go, man. It's time to work. I'm going to enlighten y'all real quick. This ain't going to be one of those shows where I'm going to run through topics quickly like I normally do for y'all. No, this is different. I got to cover all regions. Go through all regions, and then once I go through each region, me and Jeff are going to give you size, predictions, and sleepers. So you got to work with us, man. It's going to be kind of a slow-moving show, but it's necessary. This ain't something you just want to zoom through, like I said, like I normally do, because I know the attention span, 7 seconds. But y'all going to have to work with us. If y'all could watch those dudes on TV, like that's like watching paint dry, and this ain't nothing, man. Jeff, where you at? Let me try to bring you in this way. Hold up. What's up, big dog?
It's that time, baby.
Okay, hold up. Damn, man, I don't see you moving. Okay, I see you moving now. Jeff, March Madness, this is the Al York Sports second year with Sportsbook Jeff on board. Dr. College Basketball is what I call Sportsbook Jeff. Always ready to go when it comes to the kids. Remember, Jeff used to be a coach, so the fact that he used to be a coach, he loved dealing with kids, man, and he knows how the kids work. So anything you want to say, Jeff, before we kind of like start the show?
Well, you know, just a broad overview of some general opinions going into our show tonight. I actually think this might be one of the most difficult tournaments to actually predict. I think it's a deep, deep tournament, okay? There's a lot of storylines. There's teams with injuries, okay, that could affect things. And so, obviously, we had some opinions prior to the bracket coming out prior to some of the injuries over the weekend. And we have to reassess, and we did, where we want to go with a few of these teams, like your UCLA, your Xavier, teams like that. So when we get into it, you'll see where we're going with it.
Facts. Okay, before we start doing anything, there's 2 playing games. 4 actually. 2 Tuesday, 2 Wednesday. One of them is Southeast Missouri versus Texas A&M Corpus. Corpus is -4. And then the second game would be the Pittsburgh Panthers and Mississippi State. And Mississippi State's favored by 2.5. I don't know if the line moved, but that's the line I got earlier today.
Up at 1.5.
Okay, so now it's 2.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so they betting them. And on Wednesday, we got Farron Dickinson versus Texas Southern. And I didn't get a line on that. Did you get a line?
I haven't seen one.
Okay, and last but not least, Nevada versus Arizona State. And I got Arizona State 1. You said that line moved earlier, right?
It went from 1.5 to 1.
Okay, so we on that. Okay, so now we got the South region. Alabama's the 1 seed in the South. Midwest, Houston is the 1 seed. The East, Purdue's the 1 seed. And the West, Kansas is the 1 seed. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go region by region, and we're going to start with the South. Alabama 29-5. They don't know who they're playing. They're going to play the winner of Southeast Missouri and Texas A&M. So we're not going to know which team. It don't matter. They're going to roll either team. We know that, but that's who they're going to play. Now, in the second matchup, the 8 versus 9, 8 Maryland, 21-12 versus 9 West Virginia, 19-14. I'm going to try to go through this. Next game, number 5, San Diego State versus 11 Charleston. San Diego State is -5, 5.5. Then you got 4 versus 15, Virginia 25-7, Furman 27-7, Virginia -5.5. You got a surprise for everybody in that game. Then you got 6 versus 11. 6 is Creighton 21-12, NC State 23-10. The line is -5.5 for Creighton. Then you got 3 Baylor versus UCSB. Baylor's 22-10, UCSB 27-7. Baylor's favored by 10. Then you got your team, number 7 Missouri, 24-9 versus number 10 Utah State, 26-8. The line is Utah State -1.5. And last but not least, number 2 Arizona, 28-6 versus Utah State, who's 26-8. No, I'm lying. Arizona versus Princeton. Let me say it right. Princeton's 21-8. I had the line to that. I know the total
is like 14.5. 14 or 14.5.
Okay, I know the total was 153. That's what I got earlier, between 153 and a half, and Arizona's 14?
14, 14.5, yep.
Okay, so let's start off with the South, Jeff. What do you want to talk about in the South?
When you look at the South region, I mean, it's pretty evident. It's lined up real nice for Alabama as a whole. I don't see a lot of teams. Well, let's just put it this way. A team that's going to have a chance to knock off Alabama is going to have to be physical. They're going to have to be long, and they're going to have to be mature. And what I mean by mature is an older team. A lot of Alabama is a very young team, freshman-oriented, sophomore-oriented, okay? And it's going to take a team that can go and play a different style and make them grind out, get it into their grill. And there's not a lot of teams in this region that even do that. The number 2 seed Arizona, they don't play a lot of defense. Okay?
Yep.
Very evident. They don't.
Most will tell you they'll like Arizona in that matchup.
Well, see, I don't. If that comes to fruition, because Alabama plays better defense than Arizona and more physical. Okay? The team that has the best chance, there's 2 teams that have the best chance to knock off Alabama. The best shot, in my opinion, they got to get there, is San Diego State. You've got a lot of 5th-year seniors. You've got a lot of 5-year players. You've got the 2-time Mountain West Player of the Year in Mensa, who's long and physical. Right. Okay. You've got 4 or 5 guys there that can score, at any point in time. They can play an up and down game with you. They can slow it down with you. Okay, it just depends on how you want to play.
Right.
San Diego State's proven to me they can get behind early in the game and come back. So I mean,
No, the
I think
Aztecs are for real. They for real.
it might be the best San Diego State team we've seen, even though we had the 1 seed here a couple years ago. Okay, but that's the team that I think has the best shot at beating Alabama. Now, the other part can beat Alabama. Alabama can beat themselves too, because as the national media starts coming in here, they've only had the local media and kind of touched upon with the Miller situation.
Right.
So as they get to the next step for the South, will be in Louisville. Okay, so fortunately, they're not going to New York City like the East region is, but they're going to have to face more scrutinized media attention on why Miller's playing as this tournament goes on.
Right.
That's going to be probably the bigger question if Alabama gets there. Okay. In terms of sleepers, okay, and the second team that can beat Alabama is a
We'll
deep
wait on
sleeper in the
because I'm gonna do that after the show. I'm gonna do your final four sleepers, etc. Just keep talking right now. D Beeman in the building. What's up to Dwayne Beeman, the champ? Okay, who's
Missouri.
South, Jeff?
I'm going to tell you, Missouri, if they get by the first game, and I think they will, okay, there's not a team on Missouri's side that actually plays a type of ball that can beat Missouri either
Right.
out of the SEC. I think Missouri is a real nice live dog here with a hungry coach and a very mature team. The way they played the semifinal against Alabama on Saturday, the score was very misleading. Missouri was tit for tat with Alabama,
Right.
down the South, every which way but loose. Okay.
Comes out the South. We can't do this because we're gonna take 4 hours. We can't do 4 hours. Who comes out the South? Who gives them the best opportunity?
I'm going with Alabama to make the Final Four. I'm going to go chalk here, but I'm going to give the sleeper picks, as I already kind of mentioned, San Diego State at the upper half of the region and Missouri on the bottom.
Right. I'm not going to sleep on Arizona. I know they're not going to come out the region, the South, but I'm telling you right now, I am not sleeping on Arizona. Arizona year after year finds a way to continue to do what they do. Okay, we'll both agree that Alabama should get out the South, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now let's go to the Midwest. B-Man, give me a minute, B-Man. We got a storyline lined up. When we done, I'll get you right in, my brother. I promise you. But we got something we got to knock out, my brother. You know I got you. You know that. Let's go to the Midwest. Number 1, Houston Cougars, 31-3 versus number 16, Northern Kentucky. The line is minus 18.5, 122.5. Then we got 8 versus 9, Iowa 19-13 versus Auburn 20-12. Auburn is -1 unless we got to change. Then you got number 5, Miami versus 12, Drake. Miami's -2.5, 147.5. Number 4, Indiana 13, Kent State. Indiana 22-11, Kent State 28-6. Indiana's -4. Then you got Iowa State going to play the winner between Mississippi State and Pittsburgh, so we passed that. Number 3, Xavier 25-9 versus Kennesaw State. Number 14, 26-8. Xavier's -11.5. Then you got 7, Texas A&M 25-9. 10, Penn State 23-13. Texas A&M -3. Then you got 2, Texas 26-8 versus 15, Colgate. Colgate's 26-8. Texas 26-8. Texas -13.5 in that, Jeff. Midwest, talk to us.
This is the region, guys, that I'm looking for some, not just 1 or 2, multiple upsets in this region.
Okay.
You've got a lot of mid-majors, they're seasoned teams, like the College of Charleston. They're 31-3. Kent State, okay, they beat a tremendous Toledo team in the MAC Conference Championship, and I can tell you they can play, okay? You get down the bottom bracket, okay? You got some interesting things going on there, too. I mean, you got a chance for Sean Miller and Xavier to play his old team, Pittsburgh, in the round of 32. And I tell you, the biggest second-round game maybe on the board is if A&M beats Penn State and gets a shot at Texas. Now, with that being said, I also think Texas is playing the strongest 15 seed. You've got a 4-year in a row Colgate team who's the number one three-point shooting team in the country, okay, in that game. I've seen Texas go cold, okay? Colgate can shoot themselves right into that game. So there's not going to be a lay-down game for Texas. And they're coming off a big win off Kansas, okay, and a Big 12 title game. So I'm looking for maybe a letdown a little bit by Texas here in that first game. Now, looking back.
It's too strong for them in my book. Colgate would have to shoot a real high percentage just to stay in this game, like maybe like 50%, 55%, which is kind of unheard of, even though if anybody could do it, would be them. But with this long defense, Jeff, the staggering defense that Texas applies to you, if Texas take these guys serious, they'll knock them right out. But you made a good point. If they lay down, we got a ball game.
We do. Now, I think the most interesting, besides the Texas A&M Penn State first round game, and I'm really looking at that Auburn Iowa game, the 8-9 game.
Like that.
And I'm going to tell you what I like about this game. That pod is being played in Birmingham, Alabama. Okay, if Auburn can beat Iowa, they get a shot at Houston in Alabama. Okay. And Houston, we don't know. Sasser's probably not going to play in game one. I'm anticipating playing in game two, but
they
we
don't
don't
need
know.
him in game one. They're not going to need him in game one.
So I'm saying Auburn, is up and down. You don't know what the hell you're getting out of them. They don't shoot as well. They have lost 9 of their last 13 games, so they're not playing extremely well. But you get an Alabama crowd. If you haven't been down to Alabama for a football game, okay, it's the same as a basketball game. You get that crowd behind Auburn, okay, versus Houston, and you might even see some Crimson Tide people getting behind Auburn down there against Houston to try to knock them out of the tournament. Houston's got a problem in that game if Auburn gets there.
Right. That's going to be a good game. Should be a good game. So who comes out the Midwest?
Well, this is a real interesting thing because I saw some of the props starting to come out, which I won't mention right now. But I'm going to tell you, I think that the regional final, and it's going to surprise you, I am picking Kent State to beat Indiana. Okay. I think they get to the Sweet 16 and they're going to face Auburn and beat Auburn. I think you're going to have a Kent State versus Texas regional final, and I anticipate Texas winning a very tight game with Kent State to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, I got Texas coming out too. But we're going to give that out at the end. Okay, let's go to the East. Number 1, Purdue is waiting for the Texas Southern FAU game. Purdue 29-5, great season for the Boilermakers, Etney and company. Obviously, they got the 1 seed. They won their conference. Okay, then you got a real good game here, 8 versus 9. You got Memphis 26-8 versus FAU 31-3 that you high on. Memphis is minus 2.5 in this game. Then you got a 5-12. You got Duke 26-8. Oral Roberts 12 at 30-4. Duke is minus 6.5. Then you got a 4 versus 11. Tennessee 23-10 versus Louisiana 26-7. 10.5 point favorite for Tennessee. Then you got 6 Kentucky versus 11 Providence. Kentucky's 21-11. Providence 21-11. Kentucky minus 3.5. Then you got 3 Kansas State versus 14 Montana State. Kansas State 23-9. Montana State 25-9. Kansas State minus 8.5. Then you got number 7 Michigan State versus number 10 USC. Michigan State 19-12. USC 22-10. Michigan State minus 2.5. And then you got number 2 Marquette, who I like dearly. You like dearly. You like them since early in the season versus 15 Vermont. Marquette 28-6. Vermont 23-10. Marquette minus 11. Talk to us about the East, Jeff.
I'll tell you what, the East, on paper, is going to be a real open region. I will say this, that there is going to be upsets in this region as well. In fact, one prop bet I'm going to bring up and share with everybody, and I won't share anything else. But a prop bet is, will a 12 seed beat a 5 seed, came out at minus 480 to the yes, which tells me multiple 12 seeds are going to win. So I'm going to tell you, live teams in this region: Oral Roberts against Duke. I think Duke got to fool themselves over there in the ACC tournament, and I think that they're ripe to get picked, even though everybody nationally is picking them. I like Oral Roberts to run them out of the building. They're third offensively in the country. They want to play up and down. I don't think Duke can play that way. I think Duke, with the two big trees underneath there, are going to be obsolete if they're on a full court game. And I look for one of our stars from 2 years ago, Max Asmus, to come up and have his 30-point games and pull an upset against Duke. That's the first thing. The second thing is everybody's down on Tennessee. Tennessee has the second best odds to win this region right now. Better than Duke, better than Marquette, better than Kansas State. Rick Barnes, we all know, is a big choker. Has always choked in the tournament. I think the only one he ever had the Final Four team with was TJ Ford back in Texas. But I think Tennessee, the style of play, I think they get one of the softer first round games with Louisiana. I think they catch a break with Oral Roberts, and I think that's a team to really look out for. Another big game, I think, two big games actually. One is Florida Atlantic Memphis. I think they did a disservice to both these two teams. They both deserve better than that. But I'll tell you what, I like the fact that Florida Atlantic has had a few more days rest than Memphis. I think Memphis might get caught looking ahead. So I think Florida Atlantic is definitely live there. And here's the biggest one that nobody realizes. Providence has been playing terrible ball. I think they've lost something like, 4 in a row going to this tournament. But here's the funny thing is their best player was cut by Kentucky and Calipari before he went to Providence.
Right.
That boy there is itching to get a hold of the Kentucky team that loves to choke. So I'm going to tell you right now, I like Providence as that 11 seed, and we've had an 11 seed make the Sweet 16 14 of the last 16 years. That's my 11 seed to make the Sweet 16 is Providence. I think they'll get K-State too. Okay. And I think when it comes down to it, you're going to see a Sweet 16 of Purdue, Tennessee. Because I think Purdue will fight through because of the St. Peter's situation last year. They're not looking ahead. Okay. We can shake our heads all we want. But that's why I like them in this situation to get by Memphis, Florida Atlantic winner. But Purdue, Tennessee.
To me, that's going to be especially one of the early big games in that region. If Memphis somehow survives FAU and they play Purdue, I think they're going to give Purdue everything they can handle, man. Hardaway got those boys coached up. They got that young kid back that dropped 25 points in the first half against Houston. I know there wasn't no Sasser, but it don't matter. The kid was hot. When you hot, you hot. Don't matter who's out there. And I think that's going to be a very intriguing game. And I'm worried because I got Purdue to get to the Final Four, and I don't want to be hedging in round 2. I'm waiting for round 3, 4-ish, not 2.
I'm more scared of Tennessee and the Sweet 16 than the Memphis Florida Atlantic winner, especially if it's Florida Atlantic. I think they'll be outclassed. They're not going to have the height to play Purdue.
Right.
I don't know if Memphis has the depth or the height, but it'll be a good game if they get there. I'll tell you, another sleeper down there is don't sleep on Michigan State.
I thought you earlier.
I did, but I'll tell you what.
Stayed in this game.
From things I've seen, which I'll talk to you about later, don't be surprised if Izzo makes a surprise Sweet 16. Don't be surprised by it. But
right now, Jeff, I'm big on a lot of coaches are gone. Boeheim, K left last year. They want to get one of the old school guys in there. You know how they do this. Self still there. What's wrong with getting this guy up in there? You know what I mean? We love this guy from Michigan State. And like you said, I'm glad you changed your thought process because you had me thinking that they could get canned on the opening round. I love him in the opening round. USC to me, I've seen them. They trash. They play hard, but they can't hit a shot. I mean, they'll hustle you to death. But if Michigan State can get those guards off, they should be able to beat them by like 7-10 points, I think, if they could get the guards off. But if the guards can't make no shot, then you're going to have an ugly game and a toss-up. That's my opinion.
Don't forget that Marquette didn't beat anybody in the Power 5 this year. Purdue beat them.
Right.
They played tight games. And you know what? They put all their energy into this, and Shaka Smart, like Mr. Barnes in Tennessee, are chokers in the tournament. Since that VCU team, which I think he had 2 electric guards, he's really done nothing. So, I mean, Michigan State.
The tournament. He's done a lot in the regular season.
When I say nothing, I'm talking about the tournament.
He hasn't really made no noise. This is why I'm not sleeping on Marquette. I think, I might be wrong, but I think this is his best fit. I think VCU surprised everybody. I think the Longhorns underachieved under his helm, but I think this Marquette team is peaking right here. I like them. You kind of told me about them early in the year. I put some eyes on them, Jeff, and they really good. They really know how to dictate the game, and if the game ain't going their way, Shaka will call those timeouts until he gets the flow that he's looking for. And I know you've been looking at them because I've been looking at them, Jeff. They look really good, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised you think they're going to choke quick early.
Well, here's my feeling on Marquette. I think on paper and look at it, they look like the team, the sexy pick that everybody's taking out of there. But I also look at this. Marquette's not the 5th best team in the country, okay? And that's where they basically have them seated as the 5th or the 6th best team in the country, and that's not them, okay? They're no longer under the radar. I think they played a lot of games going through the Big East tournament or what that, I think it's the Big East they're in. But I think that when I look at Marquette, they're probably ripe. These teams like Duke, Marquette, they ran their tournament. Arizona, I like to see them flat probably in this first round. I think you're going to see a couple of them flat,
right?
And might be ripe here because they're all full of themselves now. They're feeling good. Versus some of the teams that got out early, you know, and got smacked around,
right?
Be able to mentally reset. So
the thing about the high C teams, they can come out flat depending who they're playing against and still win when you're a high C. But when you're like 3, 4, and 5, them teams are very equivalent. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
They got them 11 points. Obviously, they expect a blowout in this game. But I'm thinking that Vermont will probably find a way to cover. But I don't think they'll beat them. They'll probably.
I don't think Vermont's capable of beating them. I think Vermont can give them a game.
Right.
But I think they could soften them up for State.
I don't know. I think the more Shaka can get to the next level, he's gonna ante it up because you think we the only ones that know he hasn't done that in the tournament? He knows he's got to show out, Jeff. This is 13. He can't not show out and have great years and lay down in the motherfucking tourney. I think Shaka shows out this year. I'm not saying they're gonna win, but I can see them getting a couple of wins and making some noise, and then maybe lose a heartbreaker. That's what I see. But let's move on.
Well, my regional final there.
Who comes out the East, Jeff?
My regional final is the Boilermakers.
Woo!
And they're going to see their old friend Tom Izzo and Michigan State in the final out in the East. And you know what you're going to see? You're going to see Purdue make their first Final Four since 1980, and Joe Barry Carroll, who also had to be 7'4".
Wow. I'm hoping you're right because I have that future. Okay, let's go out to the West. The Jayhawks at number 1, 27-7 versus 16. Howard, 22-12. The line is 21.5, 22, 145.5. Then you got the 8 versus the 9 seed. Arkansas 20-13 versus 9. Illinois 20-12. Razorbacks are -2.5. I know you got action on that game. Then you got number 5 St. Mary's versus number 12 VCU. St. Mary's 26-7. VCU 27-7. St. Mary's -3.5. That's gonna be a real good game. Then you got 4 UConn 25-8 versus 13 Iona 27-7. UConn's favored by 9. 6 TCU 21-12. They're going to play the winner between Arizona State and Nevada. So let's move on. Number 3 Zags 28-5 versus 14 Grand Canyon 24-11. Zags are favored by 15.5, 157. Then you got 7 Northwestern 21-11 versus 10 Boise State 24-9. We have a pick 'em right there. Unless I got some late movement late. I don't know.
Northwestern's now 1.5.
Okay, 1.5. Let me mark that down. That's why I got to say that, because I didn't look since this morning. Then you got number 2, UCLA, 29-5 versus 15, UNC Asheville, 27-7. UCLA -18. Talk to us about the West, Jeff.
I tell you what, the West is the best. This is the toughest region, top to bottom, no doubt about it. You probably have 7 of the top 13, 14 teams in the country in this region.
It's going
to be an all-out war. I mean, some of the storylines for me when I look at this region is, one, we haven't had a repeat champion since 2007 with Florida. Okay, in fact, a champion has not made it out of the Sweet 16 since that team. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in the back of your mind about Kansas. Okay, number 2, UConn. With Danny Hurley as coach, this is the 3rd year in the tournament. They've been upset the last 2 years, even in their backyard in the first round, including New Mexico State, if you remember last year. Okay?
Right.
Number 3, okay, that comes to mind. UCLA is one of those teams coming off, a loss in the tournament with injuries. They're playing a 15 seed in UNC Asheville that hasn't lost a game since December. Okay. I don't know what I think it's 18 or 19 in a row for UNC Asheville. Okay. And so, I mean, there's some very big storylines here. I mean, you got Arkansas, Illinois that on paper looks like a hell of a game, but might be the most Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde teams in the country. I mean, Illinois, who they knocked off? They knocked off UCLA. They knocked off somebody else they shouldn't have beat. Okay. And then you got Arkansas that can play with anybody, but they choked down the stretch. So you got a real interesting game there. Now, with that being said, what I think the storyline this is going to come down to is you got a Gonzaga team that by the Pomeroy rankings has played the best basketball in the last 2 months of any team in the country. They've flown under the radar. They don't got the bullseye on their chest. They get UCLA in a situation where if they do meet in the Sweet 16, which I think they both will make it there, they're going to have a big edge with the injuries. Okay? They have nobody with Timmy out, and you know how Boat is out. I think he's supposed to be back, but you know how injured with his shoulder he is.
Right.
So I think Gonzaga makes a lot of sense as a sleeper, even though they're not really a sleeper. At the top half of the bracket, it's kind of like a who's who going on. I
wouldn't necessarily call them a sleeper, but the fact that they seated at number 3 tells me that a lot of people are not believing in them no more. But a 3 ain't a sleeper to me. Sleepers got to be 4 up.
Oh, I agree, but I'm just saying and the funny thing is they're going to have a tough matchup with TCU, and poor TCU. I mean, they've only lost 4 games all year when Mike Minor's been in the lineup. So, I mean, I think TCU got a terrible draw here. I think they'll play a great game, but I do think Gonzaga will take them down. So it's going to be very interesting. With everything being said, I look for Kansas to lose in the round of 32, and I'm going to say to the winner of the Arkansas-Illinois is going to beat Kansas. It's in Des Moines, so there's no real edge to anybody over there. I think Kansas is vulnerable this year. And I'll tell you who my sleeper pick is actually a 5 seed.
Hold up. Think about Kansas. When they clicking in all cylinders, when the young boy Dick is going, McCullers is going, Wilson, oh boy, the big man, them guys can beat anybody. But me and you know that they don't click every game.
No, I think McCullers might be the glue to that team, and he's out. And Texas exposed them big time.
Right.
So
yeah, but I didn't think I'm not making excuses for them, Jeff. I didn't feel like they went out to get that. I don't know why. I've watched them the last couple games. I didn't see, just like Houston, I didn't see the same in Houston. And both of them got lit up pretty bad. I think they want this tournament. I think that's where their focus is at.
I think that Kansas did a tremendous job winning the regular season, the conference tournament, and the toughest league in the country. I think they go into this tournament worn out. And I think that they're gonna get somebody else's best shot, and they're gonna come on a bad shooting night. And I think it's either having the round of 32 or the Sweet 16. So I will say Kansas will not get past the Sweet 16.
Okay, so this region.
I will say this. I predict Houston to be the first #1 seed out.
Hold on,
Kansas number 2.
Don't give me the Final Four yet. We're going to get there. This region.
My regional final is going to be the 4th round matchup between St. Mary's and Gonzaga. And I think in the end, I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm picking the St. Mary's Gales to come out of this region and beating Gonzaga.
If you wasn't my boy, I asked you what you smoking. I want some of that. But before I get into the 3 parts that I'm going to get into, we cannot continue this without talking about 2 teams that me and you agree that got sniped in this tourney. One of them being Rutgers, 18-13. Rutgers did a lot of work this year. They played everybody, man, and they played their tails off. And Oklahoma State, who you bigger on than I am, I'm really sad more for Rutgers, but you also said Oklahoma State. Now, if you had to add these 2 teams on, Jeff, who comes off the board?
Well, one thing to let you know, I've kind of had a change of heart on Oklahoma State a little bit. I actually think Clemson got more screwed. And I'll tell you why. When you have an 11 seed NC State not in a playing game who got hammered 3 times by Clemson, okay, they finished 7th in conference. Clemson finished 3rd. How in the hell is NC State in this tournament when Clemson beat you by 20 plus every time you played? I mean, I'd be pissed off to all hell.
What's Clemson's record?
And what's that?
What's Clemson's record?
Top of my head, I think there's something like, I don't know, 22-10.
Yeah, probably. The only thing I could think about, maybe NC State had the better record and beat maybe better opponents.
They
but
didn't.
I say head-to-head, Clemson got their number.
Clemson, I mean, I can tell you right now, that's a joke. I can understand you win 1 out of 2, 2 out of 3. We're talking about a clean sweep of 3 ass whoopings. If you don't know, if you can't tell that Clemson's a better team after 3 ass whippings, okay, I don't know what does it to you. That just stood out big time to me. Rutgers
NC State removed at Clemson.
Right.
Who else gets removed and who you put on? Rutgers or Oklahoma State to be played? I would say Nevada.
Nevada would definitely. I don't know how they got in. I mean, 0.
That was
quality wins. I mean, the Mountain West had a hell of a year. Okay, New Mexico had a great year too. Didn't make this tournament. They were deeper than they've been in most years. But you got a Rutgers team that won at a 1 seed in Purdue. They won at Northwestern. They won at Illinois. They won at Penn State. Okay. And one thing I look at in judging teams that are capable, can you win on the road?
Right.
They proved they can win on the road.
The Jeff 18-13, I guess, didn't do it.
There's teams with worse records than that in the tournament. I mean, Arizona State, because you hit a 3/4 shot against Arizona, and you did a lucky little shot. I mean, Arizona State is, I mean, if you look at their body of work, it's bad too. I mean, Oklahoma State should be in over Arizona State. There's 3 snubs, in my opinion. Those are 3 snubs.
Well, there's one team with a worse record than that, and that's West Virginia. West Virginia is at
and I think the reason why West Virginia got in instead of Oklahoma State is head-to-head.
I'm not mad with West Virginia being in. I see them guys play.
I see them be competitive against better teams, yes.
Better than their record indicates. I'll definitely agree. Okay, so now that we talked about the teams that got snubbed, you said Clemson and Rutgers. I have Rutgers and Oklahoma State because you told me Oklahoma State earlier, but I can see where you went with Clemson. I can definitely see that. And, it's unfortunate, but every year people get sniped, even with the playing games.
Well, even besides the teams not getting in, how about the teams that are misseeded? I mean, you got a Texas A&M team that finished second in the SEC as a 7 seed, but you have Tennessee as a 4 seed? Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
That last game, A&M got blown out, didn't help them at all. I mean, I would not drop them to 7. But
they beat Alabama the first game.
Right.
It was a payback game. And then you have a number 3 seeded Xavier team. I mean, how are they a 3 seed? That made that whole region soft.
Yeah.
By how they were seeded. Okay? That's the softest region there by a long shot. Okay? But those 2 teams are misseeded. Then you have like Florida Atlantic is a 9 seed playing Memphis an 8 seed. I mean, look at that game. Those 2 teams could have been much higher. You know what I'm saying? And I think that Kentucky's a 7 seed. I think Memphis and Florida Atlantic's better than Kentucky.
Right.
So, I mean, Kentucky probably should have been an 8-9 game, honestly. So when I look at some of this, I mean, I think they did a great job because I think we have better matchups than we've ever had starting forward. But they missed out on 3 teams, and they misseeded 3 or 4 teams.
Well, it's not easy doing their job. Trust me as I tell you, it's easy for us to knock them from where we at. Very easy to do that. Just like me and you talking, people could be knocking us right now. It ain't easy doing this kind of work. But as long as you take care of business, you're going to be all right. So they took care of business. They probably got 1 or 2 things wrong, but they took care of business like me and you taking care of business. So people could, to disagree, agree to this. It's all good. Me and we'll battle anybody. We'll go note for note, breakdown for breakdown. We ready for it. Come with it. Come with it. I'm dead ass. But forget about that. We're not going to make it me and you. We're going to go now to your sleepers. These are the sleepers that, and don't pick a number 2 as a sleeper, Jeff. At least a 4th and up. Who are maybe about 3 sleepers that we can kind of let the peoples know to look out for?
Well, I mean, first of all, you have to look at these 12 seeds. Oral Roberts and the College of Charleston. Now, does Charleston, 31-3 and 30-4. These are no jokes. These are teams, if they had Kentucky and North Carolina in the front of the uniform, they're top 4 seeds in this tournament.
Yeah, but
okay.
Jeff.
Yeah, but you understand it's not who they play. They play some decent teams. The problem
in football with Derek Carr was undefeated many years ago, and if you're not playing nobody, that doesn't do nothing for me. That 31-4 don't do nothing. Show up this Thursday, play to your record, then you get my attention. But if you 31-4 and you get blown the fuck out, what does that mean?
Well, I'll give you an example. Kent State is another one I bring up. Okay, Kent State went to play at Houston and only lost by 5, and they had them beat the whole game. Okay, the whole game they had them beat. So I mean, Kent State had 3 or 4 teams like
that game. Did they not show up that game?
Right, but most of these big opponents,
they probably slept on them.
You do.
They probably thought that was an easy win. You know how that happens.
We do realize the big boys have to give the little boys an opportunity to play them,
right,
unless you find them in a tournament. And a lot of these schools, they run for these type of teams. They won't go play you come to our place.
They need 3 sleepers because you're going to keep going and going and going. 3 sleepers, my brother.
Well, I gave you one already.
Let me give you one.
Oral Roberts is one.
I'm going to give you one. It's a 5th seed. not really a sleeper because you on them. San Diego State Aztec. I mean, you can never sleep on this team. They're fifth seed. That's why I took them. I'm not doing 3 or less. I'm doing 4 or more. I like the Aztec. Give me a second sleeper.
Well, I give you my 5 seed that's going to the Final Four in St. Mary's.
That's a good one. I'm going to say the Home Frogs. I see that Mark Guillory put it up. He's going to think he gave me the answer, but I already had it on my sheet since earlier. TCU, I know you see it there. I like the Home Frogs, man. I mean, I've seen them enough. I like what you said earlier in the year. They have a lot of crafty veterans. They know how to win. They know how to play. Who's your second?
Okay, so
who's your third?
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of them you can pick in this tournament, but for a third, I'm going to go with the 7th seed Michigan State Spartans. They got the draw to make a run.
You just told me earlier they're going to lose the first round. Now you got them going deep. I told you I like them. I told you that. They got guards that can shoot, man.
I think Michigan State, even though I don't think this is a great team, Michigan State team, I think it's a great draw.
Smart, though. Izzo got this brain on them. God, they had a real crazy loss in the early in the year. That I think it was the Iowa. They had the game 1, and it was some crazy. I think that was good for their team.
I think it's good for them to get
good for their team.
See, I think the advantages of Michigan State is getting out of the Big Ten. Some of these Big Ten schools, they know each other so well. They play them tight. Getting out of conference is going to help these Big Ten schools.
Right. Guillory, that's the first pick I gave out, the Aztecs. We thinking the same here, buddy. We're thinking the same. Okay, so I'm going to go with my third. I know you disagree with this. I'm going to stick to them. I don't like how they ended the season, but I know they're a really good team. I'm going to mess with the Hoosiers, man. And I know you
That's
got no stock.
4 seed.
Huh?
It can't be. They're a 4 seed. That's a sleeper.
Enough.
Oh, now you want to put 4 seed in there.
Oh, I told you 4
right.
seeding up, no 3 seeding down. All right, but if you want, I'll change it if it makes you feel better. But I like the Hoosiers because nobody got stock in them right now. Nobody.
Well, everybody's got stock here. They were given too high of a seed. They're not a 4 seed. They're more like a 6 seed.
Let me run through this real quick. Now I got a freestyle. Even though I know I said 4th seed and up, but I'll play your game. You know what? I'm gonna take somebody that you spoke about because, you know what? I'm gonna take the Hurricanes at 5. Is that good?
Yeah, they're 5 seed. Okay.
I know you like Drake in this game, but I think the Hurricanes are too much for them. The Hurricanes will be up early. The long as they don't give up the lead late, they should be able to get by. But the problem with the Canes is they don't keep their foot on the pedal.
Problem with the Canes is they're ranked in the bottom 30 out of 330 teams in the NCAA in defense. That's their problem. They're 283rd, I think, in defense.
Right, but I'm just.
That's why.
But it's not.
And I still remember the Florida State game being down 27 at halftime and beat them on the last-second shot.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was crazy. Okay, Jeff, let's close it out. We almost hit the hour mark. Let's go with 3 free plays. I got a teaser, a 5-point teaser, which is minus 110, and I got 2 straight plays. Or give them some plays for they try to make some money, brother.
Play number 1, I'm taking the Oral Roberts University plus the 6.5 versus Duke University. Oral Roberts plus 6.5 against Duke University.
Wow.
Number 2.
Hold up. Let's go one each so you don't snatch one of mine up.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna go first free play I'm going with. I'm gonna take Princeton and Arizona over 153.
Okay.
I think go like this. That game's gonna go like this, and Princeton's gonna score. Like you said, zone the defense is weak. Princeton should be able to score with them. I'm taking that over 153. That's one each. Yeah.
Number 2, I'm taking the number 1 3-point shooting team plus the 13.5. That's Colgate versus the Texas Longhorns. Colgate plus 13.5 versus the Texas Longhorns.
All right, you showing some class, baby. Okay, I gotta have to go up. I'm going to Sparta World. I'm taking Tom Izzo. If you got 2.5, buy it to 2. Just buy a little hook. You might be able to get it at 2. I like Michigan State -2 versus the Urban Tigers. Michigan State and Izzo will move on. Yeah.
All right, am I up again? Okay. My third play, there's plenty of mine, Gabe. I'm going to give you a third dog. Okay. And I'm going to go with, that'd be a good one. I'm going to go with Kent State Golden Flashes on the money line.
No.
Versus.
You ain't got to get pretty. You ain't got to. Listen, you showing you got class. You ain't got to get pretty with the. Just take the points, play it safe. Because if guys taking money line and they cover, it's going to go down as a loss. And knowing you're going to be like, yeah, but they cover. No. You said money line. So
all right, we'll take the points. The Golden Flashes of Kent State plus the 4.5.
There you go.
Versus the Indiana Hoosiers and sprinkle some money line.
Okay.
You got a little class to sprinkle it on.
Okay, my 2-team 5-point teaser. I want to bring the Aztecs down to -0.5 versus Charleston. I think Charleston's going to give them a lot that they can handle, but the Aztecs would tighten up late in the game. Last 6 minutes, they're going to squeeze cheeks. You know how they get down, and they're going to find a way to even cover the spread. But I got them on a 5-point teaser just to win the game, -0.5. And in the back end of that teaser, I'm going to take the Jays, Creighton Jays, -0.5 versus NC State. And those go my 3 plays. Your 3 plays, let's hope that we can make people money, and we will be active. We're going to try to be active every week. I might have an issue the week of the 23rd, 24th, because I might be going to North Carolina. But you know what? We'll do it from over there. We'll just give out free plates. We did
one thing I do want to
today. Now, everything after today, it's going to be leans and lights.
Now, Al, my question to you is this. If you had to give one future out to the crowd, who would your future
you know
be?
what? I forgot that. Let's get 2 futures out. How about that? 2 each.
Okay.
I'm glad you
remember
that.
The first one I'm going to give out is one that you and I have already bet, is the Purdue Boilermakers to make the Final Four, not to win the tournament, but to make the Final Four at plus 300. Purdue.
We got that. Let's give 2 futures. Who's going to be cutting the nets at the end of the day?
Okay, future bets we'll go with.
Final Four. We're doing winners.
Okay. So the first bet I will put in there is the Texas Longhorns at 16-1 to win the NCAA tournament. Texas Longhorns 16-1.
That young boy, that young point guard's coming back.
He should be.
If he's not coming back, they're not winning without him. I'm telling you right now.
So I'm taking Texas Longhorns as one of my 2 futures. The second one, it's chalk.
Hold on, let me give one. Let me give one before you take both of mine.
Okay.
I gotta run with Brandon Miller and company. I like their length. I like that they deep. I like that they got guards that can score. And I like that they can handle adversity. Many games that they played, other teams made huge runs on them, including your Missouri Tigers. And they just shrugged it off, came back, and not only won the game, covered the high spread on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And they got basically the best player on the floor. Now, I'm not coming out with nothing magicianish. I mean, they favorite. They are number 1, but I think they the real deal. I think Alabama is the real deal. So I got Bama to cut the nets. Give us your second future.
Well, that would have been my second future, would have been Bama, but I'll give a third one since you already put Bama out there. okay, is I'm going to go with the Purdue Boilermakers at 10-1 to cut the Nets down.
That's not
Purdue at 10-1.
bad. You ready for mine?
And by the way, I also give Player of the Year Zach Edey at 45-1 to get Player of the Year too. I think we can win that one.
My second future. Y'all ready for this? After this, we're gonna close up the show, guys. They actually lost their last game, but I kind of like that took place. I think it was a wake-up call for them. The UCLA Bruins.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, the Bruins. I love that Arizona beat them. I think that's the smelling salt that they needed.
The injuries are going to catch up to them, though.
Arizona, you know that. So they come out ahead.
Well, you knew that we liked UCLA before the injuries,
right,
to win it all, and then those injuries set them back. You know,
they got their main guys in there. My forwards in there. They got a guard that I love. I mean, I'm happy with what they got. They got enough to get there. They got enough to get there.
So, finishing this up for us tonight, who's your Final Four? Who plays the championship game? Who wins it? And I'll give you mine.
Well, I told you the Final Four already. I mean, let me get it right here. Alabama, Texas, Tennessee, and UCLA.
Nice, nice. Who do you have playing the final championship game?
I'll say Bama and UCLA.
And who cuts down the Nets?
I think Brandon Miller and them, because UCLA got a few guys out. I think it will hurt them in that game. And
all right.
Miller, what he went through earlier this year, I think he had bad luck. Not saying he didn't play his part, but it was a huge learning lesson for that freshman, dog. You got to understand, I know you're very strong with these individuals, but he's still a baby. He's a real baby, unlike John Morant, who's a baby at 23. This guy's a baby. And I think that all that shit he went through, the way he's being, if you watch him when they take him out the game, he's cheering. Like, he changed his whole demeanor. It's like that was his wake-up call to get his life straight. Like the continuity. I like how him and his coach get along. I like how deep they are. I like their length. It's going to be hard to beat the Crimson Tide. That's all I'm saying. And teams are lucky it ain't no 2 out of 3. Because I don't think nobody could beat them 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5.
Well, it's funny you said that, because my Final Four, as you already know, is Alabama, Texas, St. Mary's, and Purdue. I have Texas beating St. Mary's, and I do have Alabama beating Purdue with an Alabama-Texas championship game, and I also have Alabama cutting down the Nets.
There you go, baby. Sportsbook Jeff, March Madness, 2nd year in a row. Great job as always, buddy. Doctor, I call you Dr. College Basketball. There's a reason why I named you that. You love this shit so much. You got me loving it as much. You got me loving it to the point where I might make it my main event, even though I like the NFL playoffs. Nothing between the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl ever came close. But this tournament is so amazing. I mean,
first 2 rounds, you can't beat it.
Look, if you guys are working, do what I'm doing. I'm taking Thursday off. I got Friday already off. It's going to be hard to get me out of not watching this tournament. It's one game anybody could win. That's the beauty about it. It's not like the better team always wins, like in the NBA. In the series, usually the better team wins. For the 1 and out, if you flat one day, like Michigan was a couple years ago, I don't know if it was, what was it, Tennessee State? Somebody beat them, 25-point favorite, and they lost Middle Tennessee State.
The Blue Raiders.
And they beat them outright. Remember that shit?
Yeah, I played in St. Louis. I was at that regional.
So that's what I'm saying. Anything's possible. That's what makes this tourney so incredible. Any last words, guy?
I would just say that I know another way to get you out of work is to go to Rolling Smoke Barbecue. So I know that,
sign up for me on Thursday, dog.
Well, we'll do something. But
okay, man.
I just say, sit back, guys. When you pick your brackets, a couple tips I kind of gave you in between is 11 seeds made the Sweet 16, 14 the last 16 years. Keep that in the back of your mind. 12 seeds are going to win this tournament. That prop bet at minus 480. So play a lot of 12 seeds. I will tell you, 13 seeds is pretty high too. It was even money on 14. So we might have upsets galore in this tournament, even
Oh,
at 15 seeds.
that happens regardless.
No, I'm talking about more lower seeds than normal win
Right.
early.
Right.
So all I'm saying is don't listen to your national people out there. They're usually dead wrong.
Right. Close it up. Friday, we back on open sessions and giveaways. Jeff will be back with us Friday, and we'll be giving you Saturday's picks. So you want to tune in because the Thursday games will be playing on Saturday, and we'll have some picks for y'all come Friday night. Make sure y'all tune in or y'all lose out. Sportsbook Jeff, Al York Sports. We love y'all, man. Stay good, Jeff. Good work is over.
One shining moment, baby.
All right, baby. Let's get them, baby.
Do it.
Okay.